Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is OU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms.
All right, welcome, everybody. It is a midweek Sooner pod. Toby with you, and a very special guest joining us this week. He is my partner in crime on the Sooner radio broadcast, the best sideline reporter in America. Also happens to be the best softball play-by-play voice in America. The great Chris Plank joining us on a bye week. What's up, Plank?
Oh, what's up, T-Row? My bye week keeps getting things added to it because I found out yesterday that I'm on volleyball Friday night. So that was exciting, though, because it's the SEC opener for Aaron Mansfield and his team against LSU. But it's become a little bit of a busier week than I think we even wanted it to be with the news that's been happening around campus the last few days.
Much has happened since the last time you and I have talked with each other. Before we get going, I want to encourage everyone, if you enjoy our 3 times a week Sooner pods here on Griffin Media, please like and subscribe. You got to click the little thumb up, like, and subscribe, or else I get in trouble. So please go like and subscribe. Chris, John Mateer, Heisman frontrunner, unbelievable start to the season. Sooner Nation fired up that they could potentially be a college football playoff team this year. And we find out on Tuesday that he's having thumb surgery, probably right now or sometime on Wednesday. He's going to be out for a while. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I appreciated the kind words about the work we do on the sidelines, but I literally have spent 48 hours like kicking myself. And I never saw anything, Toby, not a thing. There wasn't even a point in that game where I remember John Mateer walking over and doing this or shaking a hand or anything on the sideline. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I stalked the man on the sidelines. I watch him come off, see him debrief with Ben Arbuckle, and then he sits with the offensive analyst that's down on the sideline with him. They go over the iPad, but there was never a moment. I went back and I've watched the alleged play at least 1,000 times. And T-Row, there's not even a moment in like that, I guess you could say, 1 minute clip where there's anything. He maybe has his right arm behind his back a little bit more than typical, but you don't see him, overworking the hand. We did post game with him on the field. He then did a press conference. So,
Chris, he completed 16 of his last 17 passes.
11 straight.
The last 11 in a row with a broken thumb.
So, I mean, it's one of those things that honestly, whenever I found out, I kind of thought I was being trolled. I thought it was a fake news report. I didn't know because literally there was nothing from that man from the moment where that happened until the game was well done. And obviously on him, maybe something happened on Sunday where he's like, I need to have this checked out, or maybe even after the game they knew. But even if, and again, maybe this is a little bit, too much inside football, and Pop works the sidelines at Tulsa. He can attest to it. Usually, this, Toby, from your time down there. When there's an injured player, you never get to talk to them post game, right? They're either off to X-rays or MRIs, or just they're trying to evaluate what's going on. And John did everything. So I'm still kind of in shock about the timeline of it. Did he get home and the swelling kicked up? He even did an interview with Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit, and now we've got fans that are overanalyzing him holding up his little sleep ring that he had on. It's like, look at his thumb. It was swollen there. So it's truly, I mean, I don't know about you, but it was truly one of the more shocking releases whenever I got it, because there was no moment in that game where I thought, oh no, he might be hurt.
Yeah. The combination of Mike Gundy's firing and John Mateer's thumb surgery made for one of the biggest days of sports news I think we've had around here in a long time. And the schedule dropped too. We'll talk about that.
Say, we got, I mean, you're I guess I can say now, a retired radio host. Those are 3-hour shows in each of those topics. And we got them all in one day. I didn't know what to do with myself today. So it was truly a newsy day. Grateful that I had my News 9 so I could watch you to get all the updates I needed. And I still feel like there's a lot that we're trying to figure out and learn about. The word that will be used over and over again, man, and that's timeline. What's the timetable?
Yeah. I think every family member of mine asked me at some point yesterday, how long will he be out? And I'm going to kind of skip past that conversation because we have no idea. I mean, until they do the surgery and see exactly what the problem is and how the surgery goes, not even the doctors can give a timeline. So hopefully he can be back by Texas. I think it's probably more realistic that it's somewhere around South Carolina or Ole Miss, but we'll put off the speculation for another day. What we do know is that firmly puts Michael Hawkins in the spotlight. He played several games. He started several games at quarterback last year. He's talented, Chris. This is a chance for him to be a hero. How do you feel about Michael Hawkins?
Well, if you go back, we don't have a ton of access to practice, but we got Teddy and Gabe on our network that spend a lot of time there and share a lot of information on their podcast, the Oklahoma Breakdown. And from everything that they've been saying, the way that he looked in practice, jaw dropping. Now, we'd heard the same thing last year when he was a true freshman, but the offensive line is is a little healthier than it was last year at this time. You are getting weapons back. Giovanni Gibson is reportedly going to be ready to go to play a little bit against Kent State here next week. So I'm confident for Michael Hawkins because, Toby, it's a new offensive coordinator. It's an offense that, according to everything that's out there, he's embraced. And it's one that Ben Arbuckle fought to keep him around. He thought, this is a kid that can work in this offense. Oh, by the way, you've got better weapons. So he's another year experienced. He played in some SEC games last year, had some great moments, had some tough ones. But, Toby, I mean, I'll turn it back on you. I feel great about this guy as your backup. Now, I don't want to put too much on him, right? You don't want to say, like, he's here to save the day. He's going to do what Jamel Holloway did and what Jason White did and what Charles Thompson did when they came in after an injury. You don't want to, get that carried away because you don't know how long Mateer is going to be out. But I think when you look at the quarterback room situation, I feel pretty confident in what Oklahoma has in Michael Hawkins as their backup, and now he's going to get a chance to prove his growth.
Here's what head coach Brent Venables had to say in his weekly SEC teleconference about Mike Hawkins.
Yeah, he's just grown and matured like all players. The more they play, the better they get typically. This is a developmental game. Mike's no different. He's worked hard at his craft. He's got great self-awareness. He's attacked everything since the end of last season. So again, I guess really since January, here we are 8.5 months into it. And he's really worked on the basics. And I think he's grown when it comes to an understanding of offense and defense. He's picked up the offense really well. And he's got a lot of dynamic abilities, tremendous athlete that also has got a great arm talent, and he's hungry, driven, and got a great work ethic. So he's a better version of himself in really every category from where he was a year ago, like you would expect. You want that for every player in your roster.
We'll see how he plays. We'll see how many games Hawkins has to start. I do think Oklahoma is better equipped at the backup quarterback position than most teams in America. So they got that going for them. And like you said, Hawkins has an entirely different offense around him this year than he did last year. We'll see if that helps. The other huge piece of news on Tuesday was the SEC schedule that dropped for the next 4 years, by the way, which I might recommend they just drop it on us 1 year at a time because it was like it. We already had Gundy and Mateer going on, and then here's 4 years of opponents. Gracious, it hit me upside the head. Let's talk about the annuals first off. Oklahoma for the next 4 years is going to play Texas, Missouri, and Ole Miss. Surprise, like it or hate it?
Well, unlike Lane Kiffin, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's kind of cool. The trip to the Grove was a fun one. We, as a crew, stayed in Memphis, and it's a little bit of a longer drive. I think, what do we have, like an hour to get there, Toby?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but it's not bad. Somewhat drivable, depending if you're a sicko like me and you love road trips, which by the way, I am so sorry that somehow they got you and me confused that you're the one that's afraid to fly whenever I'm the one that's afraid to fly and always chooses to drive. I don't know how that ever happened. But in all seriousness, I like it. I think it's cool. And listen, we did the Sooner Sports podcast yesterday, and we both agree I'd much rather have Arkansas on there than Missouri. But in time, maybe after 4 years, we reevaluate these annual opponents that I've got to stop calling permanent opponents because that's not the verbiage they want. They want it to be annual, and we'll see how it plays out. I love, obviously, Texas, and OU Texas isn't going anywhere. I don't have a massive problem with Missouri, but I think Ole Miss is kind of cool. And Toby, it was out of nowhere. No one was talking about Ole Miss. We were thinking Florida, maybe Texas A&M, maybe something with LSU. But from a difficulty perspective, I don't mind what they got every single year with Missouri and Ole Miss in addition to Texas.
Yeah, our buddy Dari Noka from the SEC Network was the first to kind of throw Ole Miss under the radar. And he's pretty well connected. So I figured there might be something to it when Dari brought it up. One guy who's not happy about it, as Chris alluded to, is Lane Kiffin. He was asked also the SEC teleconference this week about the idea of Oklahoma being one of Ole Miss's annual opponents.
Yeah. The Oklahoma is really disappointing. We don't have anything in common with them or our fans. And so that doesn't make any sense at all. And so that's unfortunate with so many great teams that we played for a long time here, especially from our SEC West years. So that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. It's great to, obviously the Egg Bowl was stained, so they really had two choices. And so the LSU makes sense, and that's great. And the other one makes no sense.
Well, sorry, Lane, but you're getting us anyway. I just kind of, middle of the season, Lane doesn't appear too happy about anything. Kickoff time, opponents, who his daughter's dating, everything kind of rankles his feathers. I want to ask you about the rest of the 2026 schedule, but before we do, a quick message from our sponsor at Brahms.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with a Brahms old-fashioned banana split. Crafted with a delicious banana, split down the middle and filled with not one, but 3 scoops of Brahms premium ice cream flavors. To complete this masterpiece, all your favorite toppings are poured on each scoop to bring it all together in a perfect harmony of flavor. Treat yourself to an old-fashioned banana split at Brahms, where every spoonful leaves you wanting more.
So, Chris, we know Oklahoma's getting Texas, Missouri, and Ole Miss. The rest of the schedule in 2026, I wrote about this last night on news9.com. It looks a little lighter to me than it has the last couple of years. Nothing is easy in this conference, but compared to 2024 and 2025, it looks more manageable. You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And there's always going to be that trip to Georgia on there. We'll see. Florida might have a new head coach by the time that Oklahoma plays them next year. A trip to Mississippi State is not overly daunting, but still it's a reunion with an old buddy of, Jeff Levy continues the upward trajectory that they're on this year. But I think it's kind of Ole Miss is coming to Norman 2 years in a row. I think that's the part of this. And there's an old soul in me that whenever you go to a place one year, they come to yours the next. So I'm just a little bit bent about Florida and Georgia not coming to OU in 2027. I know we got to wait to 2028 before they come, but I understand it in how they're doing it. It's just, it's an old school way of thinking. But like you said, let's just focus on 2026 because our head will explode. The storylines are dripping, right? Mark Stoops, if he's still around at Kentucky, we brought up Levy. I don't even know, has Oklahoma and Georgia ever played in the regular season against each other? So there's a lot of really, really cool ties. And to me, I think it's wild with the Florida being there because everyone thought that was going to be one of the annual opponents. And then lo and behold, you still get them in the first year of this expanded 9-game conference schedule. So fascinating, man. I'm excited for it. It is. I don't think you're going to look at a murderer's row of every single team being ranked on your SEC schedule like Oklahoma has this year.
Just so if you didn't see out there, folks, the home games in 2026 for OU will be Ole Miss, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, who they haven't seen yet. The road games will be Missouri, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi State. And, of course, they'll play Texas in Dallas. So if you are a Sooner fan who likes to travel, you get Missouri again, and then you get the Swamp, which will be fun, at Georgia, between the hedges. And then, as Chris mentioned, Starkville, Mississippi, where the cowbells will be ringing all day long. So new venues for us to travel to call games as well. And, oh, by the way, add at Michigan on your 2026 schedule too.
Oh, that's right.
How about that? Road games next year at Michigan, at Missouri, at Florida, at Georgia, at Mississippi State. I may be changing my mind on the schedule looks lighter next year. I forgot about the SEC portion of the schedule looks a little bit lighter, but it is cool that at least we get now, we have 4 years to plan. I think that's important for fans. I was joking about it being a lot of information at once, but fans can look at the future schedule, especially if they like to travel and budget. You got to budget in this conference if you're a Sooner fan to get to a road game. You can't just drive to Lawrence or drive to Waco or drive to Lubbock or whatever. So this gives them time to kind of look into the future and say, I want to make that trip to Georgia, or I want to make that trip to, where Texas A&M a couple years down the line, wherever it may be.
And in this economy, you can also save a little bit, but I like it a lot. Like you said, information overload, a lot of news and notes yesterday on the schedule, but exciting. In our travels, thankfully with softball, I've been to Florida. We've been down to Georgia. We've been to Starkville. LSU and Vanderbilt, there's not a softball, but Vanderbilt doesn't have softball. So I'm excited about 27 going to Nashville, who isn't excited to go to Nashville. Right. But, it's just there's so many places that still, we've been to Kentucky. I've never been to College Station. I know you've been down there before, so I'm really excited about 2028. So there's a lot of firsts, I think, on there that fans are going to want to take advantage of. And I don't know about you, what the Sooner fans have done, they've elevated the home field environment. It's juiced unlike we've ever seen before. I think what Oklahoma has done has been louder and more engaging than just about anywhere we've been on the road. Now, granted, we're still going to South Carolina and Tennessee this year. But with that said, you look at that future schedule, there's some cool environments that as a visiting fan base you get to be a part of. So that's exciting, and that's what you expect in this league, and that's why Oklahoma's in this conference.
It's big boy football, and the venues are likewise. Chris, always love chatting with you, bud. Have hopefully a calmer rest of your bye week, and we'll talk to you again on down the line.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I can't stand Halloween either, Toby. So
that's the great Chris Plank. Hey, don't forget, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. I got a very special guest going to be joining me on Friday. We'll see you then.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.